Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today we are here to talk about some of my brand new favorites and some fails. So if that is something you're interested in watching, then you're in the right place. We're about to get into it.
I'm a lone wolf. I'm a lone wolf. I'm a lone wolf. I'm a lone wolf. I'm a lone wolf.
Okay guys, so today we are here to talk about some of this month's favorites and fails. All of this is brand new product that I haven't talked to you guys about before, but all of this is product that I've been trying out over the course of the last couple of months, and I am ready to render a verdict. First, let's go ahead and start on a positive note and start with some of my favorites. Now, Lawless Beauty has been around on this channel for a really long time. You'll have to go back quite a bit to find the Lawless foundation review. When Lawless Beauty first launched, the only product that they had was their foundation, and I actually checked the foundation out because I was incredibly excited about it. I like Annie Lawless. I've followed her for a long time on Instagram. I love her backstory. I love the fact that the brand is a clean brand, so all of her products are all free of glutens, parabens, sulfates, etc. And Lawless Beauty has recently been accepted into Sephora. So you guys are going to see a lot of the Lawless Beauty products in Sephora's now in their own little section, which I think is amazing. Ever since her foundation came out, I loved it. It really grew the brand because it was a beautiful foundation. I'll link it somewhere up here if you guys want to go back and check out that foundation. But she has since expanded the brand into even more products, and I just got around to testing out 2 of them, and they have made it to my favorite list this month. The first one is the Lawless Setting Powder. Now, you guys know that I am a huge fan of talc-free setting powders. They perform better on the face. They mix better with your foundation. They just give you that flawless, non-cakey finish, and that's exactly what this setting powder is. Now, the name of this setting powder is called Seal the Deal, and it comes in that cute little boxy component there, and then your setting powder is right here. You get a really good size. She does have different shades. Now, I did just get the translucent shade. This is actually like a brightening translucent shade, so when you like put this especially underneath your eyes, you do get that really pretty brightening effect to the skin. This is a gorgeous setting powder. I absolutely love it. And again, it's a talc-free powder. It's also cruelty-free. Annie Lawless is somebody that is incredibly dedicated to being cruelty-free and making sure that her brand is a clean brand through and through, and this powder is definitely no exception. It's absolutely a winner in my book. It performs beautifully. It looks gorgeous on the skin. If you are looking for a really good setting powder that's not going to sink into your fine lines and wrinkles, gives you a beautiful look to the skin, check this one out. It's absolutely worth it. Next up from Lawless Beauty is her eyeshadow palette. Now, the name of this eyeshadow palette is called The One. I will tell you guys, since getting my hands on it and playing around with this eyeshadow palette, it has quickly become one of my favorite formulas. Now, this entire palette was formulated, again, without talc, without mineral oil, so her formulations are clean formulations in here, and they perform beautifully. Sometimes that's a little tricky when it comes to formulas, when you decide to go clean and talc free and you don't put any mineral oil, etc. in your eyeshadows. Sometimes that can gunk up the formula a little bit and make it maybe not as pigmented, etc. But because she decided to stick with her cruelty free and clean formula, that is what this palette is. It is formulated without all of that stuff, and she pulled the formula off very, very well. This is a gorgeous eyeshadow palette. The performance is amazing. It's, of course, one of those eyeshadow palettes that absolutely speaks to me. I'll give you guys a close-up of it here so you can see what it looks like. But overall, the palette performs well. It's absolutely stunning. I love the fact that there are only 4 shimmers in here. The entire rest of the palette is mattes, which is amazing. The component is amazing. I absolutely love the component that it comes in as well. And again, this is a clean product. So you're dealing with no talc, no parabens, no phthalates, no mineral oil, no sulfates. She also didn't use any kind of chemical fragrance or silicones or petroleums. She really goes the extra mile to make sure that all her formulations are clean. This is a very clean brand, so you'll never find any synthetic fragrances, etc. So if you're sensitive to artificial fragrance put into things, if you're sensitive to talc, or if you have a gluten sensitivity on the skin, then absolutely check out Lawless Beauty. Not only are the products themselves top notch, but it's all good for you and all safe as well. So the one eyeshadow palette has absolutely become one of my favorites this month. This is a great palette. Another favorite of mine is from Makeup Revolution, and it is their Conceal and Correct color correctors. Now, everybody knows about the Conceal and Correct concealer. These became incredibly popular. Everybody said this was like the cheap version of Shape Tape. I don't find that to be the case. I think Shape Tape is very drying. I don't think this is as drying as Shape Tape at all, but I do like the concealer itself. I think it works really well, and the shade range they have is ridiculous. They have just about every shade that you could possibly imagine with those concealers. Now they have color correctors, and I got 2 of them. The first one that I got was Banana, and the second one that I got was Peach, and I'll show you what these look like up close. Now, the one thing that I really like about these color correctors is the Banana. I really like using that in areas on the face where I want to brighten, down the bridge of my nose, my Cupid's bow. Sometimes I'll put some just underneath the eye where I want to brighten up just a little bit. It is a beautiful formula for a color corrector, and I love the Peach. The Peach itself happens to be like a really good tone. It's not a bright orange. It is just this really beautiful kind of pale peachy color that is perfect for offsetting any kind of under eye discoloration. So I love the Peach color corrector as well. Now, a lot of times you run into these color correctors that have all of these additional things in it. You'll find like a Peach color corrector that has all of these brightening properties in it too, and sometimes it can be a little much. So I like the fact that these are just what they say they are. They're just color correctors, and I really like that. So these 2 have become favorites of mine this month. Also from Makeup Revolution is the Revolution skincare line that they have. Now, I haven't tried other products in the skincare line. I've tried 2, so I can only speak to these 2 particular products. I have heard that some people don't like some of the other things in the line. I can't speak to that, but I can speak to these 2 particular products. This one is their 5% caffeine solution and hyaluronic acid. Now, I've talked about this on my Instagram and in some previous videos. This is amazing as an under eye serum. First thing in the morning, I just take this off and I pop a little drop of it on the back of my hand, and then I just tap my fingers in it and rub it underneath my eyes and go on about my day. And I do that usually the first thing in the morning right when I wake up, and then I'll take a shower and come out and get ready. And what it does is it just firms and tightens up everything underneath the eye. It gets rid of all of my puffiness, and it just gives my eyes a really nice boost of moisture first thing in the morning, in addition to depuffing and tightening up all of those fine lines and wrinkles. I love this as a serum first thing in the morning. I love that it's a 5% caffeine solution in addition to just being caffeine and hyaluronic acid. I think that is amazing. So I really like this serum, and I like the fact that this is vegan, it's cruelty-free, and it's incredibly affordable. So I definitely recommend this. This has become an everyday favorite. The next product that I tried from them, I actually got as a sample. So when you order these, they actually will give you a little mini here to try. And the one that they sent me to try is the Quinoa Night Peel. So I'll give you guys a close-up of what this looks like. Now, basically what this is it's just an exfoliant. So this is more of like a chemical exfoliant for the face. So what it relies on is a lot of citrus extract is in this particular peel, including quinoa. So what it's basically doing is it's using the acidic properties of the citrus to get rid of all of the dead skin cells on the surface of the skin. So you would put this on at night before going to bed, and it's going to help kind of get rid of all of that dead skin. You rinse your face off in the morning, and the idea is that that's going to help a lot with radiance and brightness because you're getting all of that dead skin off of your face. I will say that I did enjoy using this, and I think it's a nice formula, especially for the price. But if you are used to a typical AHA, BHA peel, then you may be a little underwhelmed by this particular product. It's not like a typical chemical exfoliant that we like, those of us that are like really into skincare. However, if those kind of extreme AHA and BHA chemical exfoliants are a little much for you and you find that it is an irritant to your skin, then something like this may work really, really good for you. So if you have more sensitive skin and you're looking for a peel, this might be a really good option for you. Of course, this is again vegan, and it's also cruelty free. It's also formulated without any additional artificial fragrance added to it as well. So check out these two products. I haven't checked out any of the other products. I do intend on checking out the other products because I was pretty impressed with these two. Next up is another product from Makeup Revolution that I absolutely love. Now, I use an essence in my skincare routine, and basically an essence is when you wash your face and you've cleansed. For me, my next step is to pat an essence into my skin. It's just a layer of hydration that I can give to my skin, and then I follow it with my serums, my moisturizers, my sunscreen, etc. This is a basically a clarifying essence from Makeup Revolution, and this is their Niacinamide clarifying essence. Now, I love niacinamide because of the brightening properties that this has. It's niacinamide and also has some chamomile extract. So if you deal with problems with skin tone or hyperpigmentation, then this is definitely something that you might want to check out. Now, typically essence like the Tatcha essence and other essences out there are a little hard to control. You just kind of have to pour it in your hand and, you know, kind of rub your palms together and then pat it into the face. But essences are basically like water. So it's like, you know, trying to keep water in the palm of your hand while it's, you know, running through your fingers. This is a really good idea. I don't know why all essences aren't put in like a spray pump. I think that's been a fantastic idea. I've really enjoyed just spraying my face down and then patting it in as an essence. I think this is great. It's not sticky. It doesn't have any kind of funky texture to it at all. It's just really, really hydrating with a huge blast of niacinamide and some chamomile extract as well. And I think that's always great. So I've loved using this as kind of my essence and getting that infusion of niacinamide first thing in the morning. And the rest of my skincare layers beautifully on top of this, so it doesn't mess with makeup or any of my moisturizers or anything else. It works itself into my skincare routine quite well. So I really like these. They have a lot of different kinds of essences that you can choose from on the Makeup Revolution site. I just happened to choose the niacinamide option. They do have a hydrating option as well. I'm thinking about checking that one out, but this one was a winner for me. Next up is a foundation. This is the Dior Forever Skin Glow. Now, you guys know that one of my most used and most favorite foundations of all time was the old Dior Skin Forever, but this is their old formula, and I'm so sad that this is like going away. And I love the Dior Skin Foundation. This is one of my most used all-time favorite foundations. Now, they came out with this brand new formulation, and this is the glowy version. This version is stunning. It looks beautiful on the skin. It gives you this gorgeous glow. You look very hydrated. Your skin looks very healthy. It doesn't sink into fine lines and wrinkles. It doesn't accentuate your pores. It gives medium to full coverage. It's incredibly buildable. Overall, this formula is an absolute win. You are into a very natural, beautiful, glowy skin. You're gonna love this foundation. Now, as far as ingredients are concerned, it has the typical Dior ingredients list. So they use a lot of pansy extract, rosehip extract. They do have some really good for you ingredients inside of their foundation formulations, and that part hasn't changed when it comes to their formula. So you're still getting some really good for you ingredients in the formula itself. This does have quite a strong scent. So if you don't like scents in your skincare, you may want to sample this one out before you pull the trigger on it, because it does have a pretty strong fragrance. I myself personally don't smell it once I've applied it to my face, and it absolutely dissipates once it's on. But overall, this was a win for me this month. This is a gorgeous foundation, and I absolutely love it. All right, so let's get into the fails of this month. You guys know I hate to just get on here and dump on brands and products, but at the end of the day, not everything that we try works out. And if I can save you some money, then I absolutely want to do that. So the first thing I want to talk to you about is actually kind of a mixed bag. It was something that I got from Makeup Revolution, and it's like a half success and half fail. So let's go over that first. This is a brush set that's called their Sculpt and Blend collection, and I'll show you guys what this brush set looks like up close so you can see what's included. So inside of here, you basically get a blending sponge. You also get a Power Sculpt and Blend brush, which is like a foundation brush. Then you get like a cheek and what they call a cheek and highlight blending brush. And then you get what they say to use for like ultra metal type of eyeshadow formulas. They want you to use that little brush for that purpose. Here's my problem with this kit. The actual Beauty Blender itself, this is phenomenal. This is one of those really soft, good beauty blenders. I actually really like the Beauty Blender. I also actually really like the foundation brush. This is a solid foundation brush. I think the bristles are beautiful. They're nice and soft. You have a good buffing area here, and it buffs and blends in foundation beautifully. This is a winner out of this brush set. These two are where the problem lies for me. This brush is so hard and so scratchy and dense. I don't know where you could actually use this on your face that it would even feel comfortable. So this brush was an absolute fail for me, and they say that this is supposed to be a eyeshadow blending brush, and for me it doesn't suit that purpose at all. I think it doesn't have enough hairs in it, and the fibers are just too stiff. I would maybe use this as a liquid concealer blending brush, but even then I just don't think there's enough synthetic hairs in the brush itself to be effective when it comes to blending concealer. So this one was not a win for me. So this is like a half fail and a half success, I guess. If you like the Beauty Blender and the foundation brush and you think that that makes the whole thing worth it, then this might be something for you. But overall, I think I would lean it a little more towards the fail category. I would really like for everything in the kit to really work. Alright, so the next thing that was a fail for me was also from Makeup Revolution. This is one of their Forever Flawless palettes. I was really disappointed with this, and I don't know if you guys have ever tried these palettes from Makeup Revolution. They have like this tin kind of outer casing, and then this is what the inside looks like. And look at that color layout. Doesn't that look like it would be a dream? I was so excited about this palette and so disappointed with the performance. None of these shadows really have any kind of significant pigment to them. When you try and blend them out, they just all blend together, and there is no definition between shades. There are several shades in here that just don't show up like they should. For example, this beautiful brown that looks beautiful in the pan, when you actually blend it into the eye, it just doesn't even show up brown. It shows up more like a light orange. The pigment in these is off. The formula in these is off. This was a hugely disappointing palette. I was so upset with this because the color layout itself is actually really, really stunning. However, the shimmer shades in here, because shimmer shades are not difficult to do, those actually look pretty, but even those are not as gorgeous as like the Makeup Revolution foils that we recently talked about in a previous video. Those poured pigments, oh my gosh, those are the most stunning. And you know what? If you can make those and that is your formula, then put that in these palettes. I just know that Makeup Revolution can do better, so it upsets me when I see these kind of cheap palettes going out and inconsistency within a brand. I really feel like that if you're going to produce a good palette, whether it be for an influencer like Emily Noel did a palette with Makeup Revolution, I loved the formula in that palette. So if you're going to make that palette a great formula, then that formula should really be consistent across your products. Or if you don't want to use that specific formula that you came up with an influencer, at least use a formula that's effective and actually works. That way your consumers don't have to worry about which one's going to be a hit and which one's going to be a miss, and this one was a miss for me. And that's my one beef with Makeup Revolution, is consistency, especially when it comes to their eyeshadow palettes. This one was a fail and I was not happy about it, if you couldn't tell. Another fail from Makeup Revolution for me was their Makeup Revolution bronzer. And this is number 1 Cool is the shade of this bronzer. And this really has an orangey undertone. And I was really disappointed with that because it has a great pan size. I thought this would be a great bronzer to have. But this really does not come off like a really pretty natural bronze on the skin. It has an orangey undertone to it. It kind of blends out a little choppy. This is not my favorite formula either, which is disappointing because there is another palette that Makeup Revolution makes that's a contour palette, and the contour and bronzers in that palette are gorgeous. So I don't know what the consistency issue is there, but disappointing. I don't like this bronzer. I think it's just a little too orangey. Another fail that I came across this month is actually from Tarte. They have their brand new Shape Tape powder foundation. So I kind of got excited about this because I don't know if you guys know, but I love a good powder foundation. And the fact that this was introduced as part of the Shape Tape line, I thought we might have an opportunity to have a really good powder foundation finally be introduced out into the world of cosmetics, other than Wanderlust from Wander Beauty. That's like my favorite powder foundation in the world. And this one is a fail. And you know, I don't know if it's because I will forever put every powder foundation that I try up against Wander Beauty, but I find myself doing that because in my head the Wander Beauty powder foundation is, for me, the best powder foundation that I've ever tried. So of course when I try other powder foundations, I'm going to compare them to that. And I think that if it's a good powder foundation, it should at least hold its own against that formula. And this does not do that. Now, don't get me wrong, this is going to be a pretty setting powder for your face, maybe. I mean, this is what it looks like. It comes in this really pretty purple case. You get a little spongy thing, applicator here underneath it. And you know, as a powder, it does a pretty job. I mean, it will, I use this to touch up, like if I want to just get rid of some oil on my face, I'll use this for that. As a powder foundation, using this as your foundation, this is an absolute fail. It doesn't provide any kind of coverage, and as a foundation, there's no longevity to this product at all. Not only that, when you put it on your face, it clings to every dry patch that you have on your skin, and it really makes your skin look very, very dry. Now, I know that most powder foundations will accentuate dry skin. However, this powder foundation does not do that. The Wander Beauty powder foundation does not accentuate any kind of dry patches on the skin. This allows your skin to look like skin. At the same time, it gives you a very natural, beautiful glow, and it's like full coverage. You put this bad boy on your face, spray your face down with some setting spray, and you are good to go. This is definitely not that. So I would absolutely not recommend the Tarte Shape Tape Powder Foundation unless you're just looking for a good finishing powder. I don't even think I would classify this as a good finishing powder. It's just a finishing powder. Another fail for me this month is this Dior Forever foundation. Now, I know what you're saying to yourself. Wait a minute, didn't you just say that the Dior Forever foundation was a win? Well, I did, except I said the Dior Forever Skin Glow was a win. This is just the Dior Forever. This is supposed to be a matte foundation, and it's not really a matte foundation. It's more of like a demi matte foundation. So it's like one of those mattes that's not like a flat matte. It allows your skin to have a little bit of you know, a little bit of a glow to it, even though it's not a glowy foundation. It's a demi matte. This is a horrible formula. This sunk into every fine line and wrinkle that I had. I have a little bit of dryness going on right here, and it just clung to all of that dryness. It looked awful. This is horrible. It was a fail, and I was so disappointed. I was so excited when I got this foundation because I had tried this one first. And so I was like, yes, now I will be able to try this and have a matte look if I want to have a matte look throughout the course of the day. This performs horribly. It doesn't even last very long, and it does have quite a strong scent as well. I think the scent to this is a little bit stronger than the glowy. If you're going to try the Dior Forever, stick with the Skin Glow formula. Definitely avoid the regular Dior Forever, the matte one. This is not a win. Another fail for me is another foundation, and it is the brand new Tarte Found Sealer foundation. Now, I'm not really sure what they were looking to do with this foundation. This is definitely not like the Shape Tape foundation that they just released. I actually really like that foundation. That is an Ulta exclusive. This is a Sephora exclusive. Now, this is supposed to be a little bit more like a multitasker. So it's kind of like a BB cream, CC cream kind of deal. So they're not even really marketing this as like a full coverage foundation like their Shape Tape one is. This has got SPF 20 in it, and it's supposed to have a lot of good for you ingredients in it, etc. It's supposed to be kind of a light to medium coverage. This foundation looks awful. It has a really interesting pump to it, so you twist it and the pump pops up like this, so you can kind of twist it up and down, and it applies like a sunscreen. It applies like a really thick sunscreen. I'll actually show you guys this foundation because it was bad. Like, it settled into all of my fine lines and wrinkled. It just didn't cover anything from a coverage perspective. I have some dry patches like around the corners of my mouth, and my typical foundation that I use will not accentuate those dry patches, and this foundation did. This foundation just looks bad. This is a bad formula. I'm not sure what they were trying to do with this formula, but I don't like this, and it did not look good on me. Now, is it going to be that bad of a train wreck for you guys? I don't know. All I can tell you is that if you're an oily girl, I would absolutely stay away from this. If you are a little more on the dry to normal side, you could probably get away with using this. If you have dry patches on your face, or if you're like acneic, I think it's going to accentuate all of that. And if you have any kind of fine lines and wrinkles or any other texture on your skin, it is going to settle in those fine lines and wrinkles. This actually didn't do wonders for my pores either. This was a really big fail, and I was really disappointed in it. This one was not good. Alright guys, and last but not least, this was a very disappointing fail for me as well, and it is the 35G, the bronze palette from Morphe. Now, this palette I saw online, I immediately fell in love with it. I thought it was just going to be wonderful from Morphe, and it's been a long time since I've gotten one of these big ones other than the James Charles palette. The first thing that kind of was like meh was that when you open it, it comes with this thing that has the names of the shadows on it, which I think this is stupid. I can't stand those things. But the palette itself, look at that. Isn't that stunning? Wouldn't it be great if this performed as good as like the Jaclyn Hill palette or the James Charles palette? Yes, it would be great. But no, it doesn't perform like those palettes. So a lot of these mid-tone browns all through here, they just don't show up. You really have to layer and layer and layer and layer to really get them to even show up on the lid. Some of the shimmer shades in here are actually okay, but considering that you guys just put out the James Charles palette, you guys have put out like that Jaclyn Hill palette, the formula in that is stunning. So I know that you have the capability of using pressed pigments, making stunning eyeshadow formulas. Why are you not utilizing those formulas when you come out with palettes like this? Because this is not a good palette. Now, that's not to say that every color in this palette is bad. There are some good shades in here. But when I stepped back and I looked at the ones that I actually liked, that actually worked, and that actually performed well, there were more bad than good. And at that point, it's just not worth it from a palette perspective. So overall, this was a disappointing fail for me because I genuinely really love some of the colors in this palette. Some of them are just stunning, but at the end of the day, you guys, the pigmentation with this palette is just not there. Now, I will say there are a lot of shimmers in this palette. It's kind of like a half shimmer, half matte type of palette, so it does have a lot more shimmers in here than I'm typically comfortable with, but even the shimmers are just not what they should be. They're just, can you even see that one on here? It's just, they're just very dull and very underwhelming, you guys. This was not a good palette, and this was really disappointing as well because I was really looking forward to doing some really good eye looks for you guys and reviewing this. I had a video planned just for this palette, but at the end of the day, you guys, I don't recommend it. It's just not worth it. Alright guys, well, we have talked about everything that I have to talk about to you guys as far as favorites and fails is concerned. Let me know what you guys think about some of these products, if you've had the opportunity to try some of these products and what your thoughts are. Just keep in mind, guys, that we're all different, and that is the beauty of humanity, is that all of us are made different, and things that don't work for me doesn't mean that they necessarily won't work for you. This is just my opinion. I always like to say that, just in case some of you guys like some of the things that I don't like. Don't take it personal. This is just my opinion. But at the end of the day, it's your money, and if I can save you guys some coin and steer you away from products that don't perform and steer you towards products that you can depend on, then my job here is done. Listen, if you are new here, welcome. Please feel free to hit the subscribe button on your way out. We would love to have you as a member of the approved crew. If you guys have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out through a DM on Instagram. My Instagram is @EricaApproved. And as always, I hope all of you guys are very happy and very healthy. And I will see you guys in the next video. Mwah.